The main thing you can do to be more efficient at 15 puzzle is just play more. More specifically, you should do FMC sessions at about 3 times slower pace. You don't have to go very slow. And just solve the puzzle trying to find better moves. That's basically all I did to reach sub 70 average move count. It took me about 1.5 years, but you can do it in much less time, which is shown by several good players like Danby. The main thing you should do to get better is practice. You really don't have to learn anything or analyze other people's solves to improve, especially at low levels, but it obviously might be helpful. This video is not going to teach you how to get better and will not change your current results at all, but I will try to show you what you need to understand to be able to solve 15 puzzle at certain move count barrier. I will do example solves on 5 scrambles in each level of difficulty. 120 moves. This is the highest average move count you should get while solving elements one by one with the most basic layer by layer method. As long as you don't do many mistakes and perfectly understand the basic pattern on finishing the layer, it shouldn't be a problem to break that barrier. This is the first scramble. Let's start with solving 1. Now let's solve number 2. Now let's solve number 3. And 4 is already at right spot. Now let's solve second layer, starting with number 5. Now we should solve number 6 without ruining number 5. And now just finish 8 and 7. Now we should solve not the first layer, but solve 2 left elements, 9 and 13. Okay, in order to do that, we should place number 9 in the place for number 13. And now we should just place number 13 on the bottom and solve them. Now we should solve 10 and 14. We should place number 10 on the place for number 14. And now place 14 to the bottom. And now we left with 2 by 2. And the puzzle solved in 92 moves. It's much lower than 120, but it was a pretty lucky scramble. Here is the second scramble, and let's start with number 1. Number 2 is almost solved, and to solve last 2 elements we have 3 on the place of number 4, so we can place number 4 under the number 3. And now we can just solve them. Now let's solve the second layer, starting with number 5. Now let's solve number 6. And we already have 8 on the place of number 7, so we can place number 7 under the number 8. Now we have to solve 13 and 9, 2 left elements. We can just move them together. Now we have to place number 14 on the place of number 10 and place number 10 to the top. Now we can just insert them, and apparently we solve the second scramble even less move of 88. This is the first scramble. I hope it will be worse, because I want to show different levels and not just sub 90. So let's start with number 1. Then we should move number 2. And now 4 and 3. We can place 4 for the place of 3, and now place 3 under the 4 and insert them. Now we should move number 5 to the left. Now solve number 6. And now number 8 and number 7. Let's place number 8 to the place of 7. Now we should place 7 under 8 and just solve them. We have 13 and 9 swapped, so we have to move 13 away and place 9 to the bottom. Now we have to move 13 to the bottom and solve them. The same exact thing with 14 and 10. Let's place 14 to the top and 10 to the top as well. Now we just solve them and finishing the puzzle. It's much worse in move count, and I will show later how to improve this. This is the fourth scramble, let's just start with number 1. Now solve number 2, and now let's place number 3 to the place of number 4. Now let's place number 4 under the number 3. Now let's place number 5, number 6, number 8 let's place on the place of number 7. Now place 7 under number 8 and solve them. Now let's place number 13 to the place of number 9. Place 9 on top and solve them. Now let's place number 14 to the place of number 10 and wait. We should divide this number as a first step. So we should place number 10 to the right. Now we have enough space to place number 14 to the top. And now we can place number 10 and insert them. And now we finished the fourth scramble in 99 moves. And this is the last scramble. Let's start with number 1. Now number 2. And now let's place number 3 to the place of number 4. Now let's place number 4 under the number 3. Now 5 is already solved. Let's place number 6. And let's place number 7 on the place of number 8. Now let's place 8 under number 7. Now let's place number 8 to the place of number 13. Now let's place number 13 to the right of 9. And solve them. And now let's just move these two numbers together, and we basically solve the puzzle in 96 moves. So we got 98.2 min of 5. It is much better than I expected for layer by layer method, but with more scrambles it will probably be worse. In order to consistently solve the 15 puzzle in under 100 moves, it's really recommended to learn fringe color scheme. And if you just follow the colors in that order instead of layer by layer, you can break the barrier within few days of practice. So let's just solve the first scramble, but now with fringe color scheme instead of layer by layer. First step is basically the same. We start with number 1, now solve number 2. Now we have 4 on place of number 3, so we can place 3 under number 4. Now instead of solving the second layer, we solve the left part of yellow elements. Now let's place number 5 on top. And now let's place number 9 to the place of number 13. Now place 13 to the left and solve it. Now basically we have a 3x3 sliding puzzle, and now we should solve number 6. Now let's place 8 to the place of number 7. Now place 7 under number 8 and solve it. Now we have 10 to the place of number 14. Let's place 14 to the bottom and solve it. So we solved the first scramble in 88 moves, which is slightly better. Now let's solve the second scramble with fringe, and start it's almost the same, placing number 1, then number 2, and then number 4 to the bottom of number 3. So the first layer is solved. Now let's solve the yellow part. Let's place 5. And now let's place number 9 to the place of number 13. Now let's place 13 to the left of number 9. So now we should solve number 6. Now let's place number 7 to the place of number 8. And now let's place number 8 to the bottom of number 7. And looks like we already solved 10 and 14, so we just solved the second scramble in 92 moves, which is actually 4 moves worse than before, but in general fringe should be better. Now let's solve the third scramble with fringe. Now let's place number 1, then number 2, then number 3 under number 4. Now place number 5, and we should solve 13 and 9. Move 19 away, place 9 under place of number 13, and now place 13 to the bottom. It's almost the same what we did before, but we did this step first instead of green. Now let's solve 6. Now place 8 to the place of number 7. And now let's place 7 under number 8. And solve it. Now let's place number 10 under the place of number 14. Now let's place 14 to the left and solve it. So we finished the third scramble in 98 moves, which is much better than what we did before. This is the fourth scramble, and let's start with number 1. Now place number 2, and let's place number 3 to the place of number 4. Now let's place 4 under number 3. Now let's solve number 5, and we can see that 13 is already on its place, so we can place 5 and 9 together. It's a little bit advanced, but nothing special. So we can place 5 here, and now place 9 to the left of number 5. So now we can insert it and continue with solving the 3x3 sliding puzzle. Now we can place 6 to the left, then place 8 to the place of number 7, and now place 7 under 8. So now we can place 14 to the place of number 10. First we should divide elements, of course, and now place 14 to the place of number 10. And now solve it. With a small mistake we still got 93 moves, which is better. And this is the last scramble. Let's start with number 1. Now number 2. Now place number 3 to the place of number 4. And place 4 under number 3. 5 is already solved. Let's place 13 to the place of number 9. Now let's place number 9 to the right side of number 13 and solve it. Now let's place 6 to this place, Now let's place number 8 to the place of number 7. Now place 7 under number 8 and solve it. And it's already in perfect position, so we can finish the solve. So with just using fringe color scheme instead of layer by layer, we managed to improve our move count by 7 in average. In the long run, fringe color scheme will allow you to sub 100 almost on every scramble. This is the point where things start getting a little bit complicated. And sub 80 move count is basically what most fast people do in speed solves, if we exclude the miss moves. There are 3 main things you should do to solve the puzzle in less than 80 moves. The first thing is choosing the better order of the colors. For example, solving the yellow side before red if you think that this is more efficient in current situation. This also applies to more basic things like solving 3 and 4 before 1 and 2 and all other similar cases. The second thing is moving more than one element of the same color at once, depending on the situation and your level of understanding. The key of that is pattern recognition. There is a limited amount of ways for several pieces to be rearranged on the board. It is mostly trivial for 2 elements, and you probably already understand how to do that if you solve around high 80. 3 element patterns are a little bit more advanced, but with some practice you will learn how to combine and insert 3 or even 4 elements together. The third thing is closely related to the previous one, and I would call it the pattern knowledge, or how many different ways of solving the same pattern you know, and most importantly, how can you use that to improve your move count in general and the way you combine multiple patterns together. Let me show you the more advanced example of the first scramble. The first thing I would do is to place 13 on the left and 2 on the top. So let's just place it here, and now we can also combine 2 and 3. And now we can use the left side to place 13 and move 5 on the bottom to later insert it with the 9 probably. Now let's move 4 to the right and insert it using this pattern. Now let's insert 5 and 9. And now insert 3 and 4 normally. Now we have 3 by 3. Here we can solve 6, 8 and 7. Move 7 here and also rearrange these 3 elements. And now we also have 10 and 14 in good position. So we finish the first scramble in 76 moves. Let me show you more advanced example of the second scramble. It has a pretty lucky first row, so let's just using 4, 1 and 3 pattern to rearrange these 3 numbers. We would have number 1 here, and then we can insert it with number 2. So now let's just insert number 2, but also saving number 13 and 9 by doing this. So we moved it on the bottom and now we can insert it from here. Now let's use the 13, 5 of 9 pattern and insert these 3 elements on the left. Now let's solve the 6, 14 and 10. And also, basically, it's pretty easy 3 by 3, so let's just do this and then move 6 to the left. So we finish the second scramble in 52 moves, and it's most likely what I would do in real solve. And now the third scramble. Here is much better to solve with yellow first. So I can just move 13, 5 and 1 because they are linked together. So let's start with moving here and also moving 4 to the right. So now we can just insert 13, 5 and 1. And now let's just move to the bottom, also moving to the left probably, and doing this circle to move 2 and 3 higher. Now let's just move 9 to the right, so we can just insert it later. And now we insert this line, inserting 1, and now we can also insert 4, 2 and 3, or insert 9. So let's just insert 9, and now insert 2 and 3. And here we have 6, 7 and 8 in snake order, so let's just move it around. So we finished the third scramble in just 62 moves. So here is the fourth scramble. Let's start with moving 1 and 3 on the bottom. And now let's just insert 1, 2 and 4. Now let's just insert 3. And now insert 5 and 9. At this moment, let's just move 6 and 7 and add 8 to this path. So now let's move 10 to this place and finish the puzzle. So easy 67 moves solution. Here is the last scramble. Let's start with solving 1 and also moving 5 and 9 to the left. Now let's solve 2 and 3. And now place also 4 to the right. Now let's move 13 to the left and insert it like normally. Now let's insert 14, 6 and 10 and insert 7 and 8. So we finish the last scramble in 72 moves. So in the end I managed to improve move count to 65 in average. Like previously I managed to get much better result than expected, but in the long run I would probably get worse. Solutions that I've shown can look complicated, but you shouldn't really be worried about exact things that I did, and just focus on the main ideas on moving more than one element at once, constantly changing order of the elements, and using patterns to solve different parts of the puzzle efficiently. All these things are intuitive, and you can learn everything by just practicing. But it will probably take a really long time before you can actually understand everything I just shown in the solutions. There are 0 algorithms in 15 puzzle, and no one really can explain what color to choose when, and it's just something that you should figure out by yourself. Sub 70 moves. This level is very advanced. In order to get there, you should be nearly perfect at all the aspects I talked about earlier, such as pattern recognition, the best order of the colors, and ability to combine many different patterns together. One of the most important differences to the previous level is ability to set up elements of 3x3 if possible, while solving the main fringe, or more generally just the ability to solve different sides of the puzzle at once and not being stuck at fringe order. The easiest example of that is just imagining different color scheme applied to the puzzle. For example, while doing fringe, you can imagine where are the pieces of the second layer of the puzzle, just like if you were doing beginner's method. And then you can just solve 6, 7 and 8 if it's better than 5, 9 and 13. So you can just ignore fringe and do what's better. The other example, solving the second column of the puzzle or some part of it before the top layer. And probably the most advanced technique is ability to solve bottom and right elements first, You can see why this is hard, because you can't actually solve them without putting the blank on the right bottom position, and while doing that you always should keep track of these elements and solve them if possible in the positions that would later be solved by moving blank to its final position. It's actually pretty hard and usually more helpful on bigger puzzles with a lot more freedom than in 4x4, but I'm pretty sure that you often can save some moves by predicting the latest moves of the puzzle. Now I will show you the most advanced solutions I can possibly do, and let's start with the first scramble. Let's just move the 3 on top first. And now place 13 and moving 2 around. Now let's try to solve the first layer. Placing 5 and 13 here and solving the first layer. Now just inserting. And here we probably should also look at green and the blue elements. So now we can just insert 5 and 9, but here we should probably also solve 14 to the bottom here. Now it's solved, and we can also put 6 here. I mean, we have no other choice, and now we can just have better 3x3 by just setting these two elements. And now we have 66 move solutions, which is even better. And for the second scramble I can't really see what to do except just the same solution I did before, because there is no really moment in the solve where I can save green or blue elements. So it's just simple 52 moves solution. Well, obviously this solution wasn't optimal. I had 2 mistakes or 4 moves away from optimal, so you can always find something better. So for the first scramble I would move 3 to the top, 8 and 9 to the right. 9 is important to move here, because otherwise it will stuck under number 13 and we have to insert it later. So now let's just solve the red and move this to the left. So now it's important to move 2 and 3. Like that, and now we can insert left part and go to the top again. Now we can insert it, and we also have 6 in the good position. And now we could just solve the 13 and 9, but we should solve 8 and 7 first, because it's just better. And we also have 10 and 14 solved. So now we just insert it and finishing the puzzle. And now we saved 4 moves with that solution compared to previous one. So the important thing about 4th scramble is that we don't want number 10 on the bottom, so we move 14 first. Then we just solve 1, 2 and 4. Now insert 3, and here we should probably start with number 9 first and not move 6 to the right, because we don't want 6 to be there. So we just move it around, also moving 8 closer on top, 7 closer just to better place, and also preparing number 10 to be connected with number 14. So with that solution we would have much better 3x3. So now we just insert 5 and 9 and just solving 3x3, and that's 61 moves. Well, the last solution is pretty advanced. We start with solving 1, 5 and 9, But here we notice that 13 is really top right and we don't want it to be there, so we should move it left first. And we just do this, move it to the left, insert the 4, moving 15 on the bottom, and now we move it even lower, and here we should place 7 here and rearrange 10 and 6 in a better pattern. Now we can insert 13 and 14, and hopefully that's much better 3x3. Solve it like this and it's just 60 moves, which is much better. So with several attempts on each scramble and using pretty advanced ideas, I managed to lower the average to under 60 moves. Well, in actual solves I would probably get something between this level and previous one. The main goal of last 5 example solves was to show how can you affect 3x3 while solving the first fringe. These ideas are pretty advanced, and obviously I can't always do that with my first attempt. But it's really important to think about other elements while you solving first fringe, because it's all the elements of the puzzle and you want them to be in good places. So if you are good at all the basic stuff and at least sometimes you can predict better 3x3, you can get sub 70, it's not that hard. So now I will just show you optimal solutions of these 5 scrambles found by AI. These are just one of many possible solutions for these scrambles. I don't want to make this video even longer. I don't really have much thing to say about getting that low. The average optimal of 15 puzzle is about 52 moves, and I almost never can get that with my first attempts. My best FMC performance is 58 average of 25, which is mostly was achieved by great luck. And so far the only person to ever achieve sub 60 average of 50 is Chinese player Wishkid. To get there, you really should be perfect at everything I just explained, have a lot of experience, and actually get some lucky positions. Not necessarily positions that have lower optimal solutions, but positions you just happen to understand better. The only thing I can recommend to that level is trying high effort solves, when you spend more than 1 minute on the puzzle. It is not really necessary for any lower layer solves, and for me personally it did not help at 4x4. But what you can do, and what Wishkid did in his sub 60 average, is thinking a lot on each move, trying to find the best possible continuation, comparing different strategies in the head. It is really hard, boring, and if you don't have at least sub 70 moves average, it's not worth even trying. Just try to solve more and maybe someday you will be the first person to beat 60 moves average of 50 by rare in Slide Sim.